Your bank is making thousands of dollars from your money every single year and giving you almost nothing back. In fact, right now, as you watch this video, your savings account is quietly doing something that is costing you more money than you realize. And the worst part is the bank designed it this way on purpose. They are counting on you never finding out. But today, everything changes because I am going to show you exactly what your bank is doing with your money, how much it is actually costing you, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to stop losing money and start building real wealth instead. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you are going to look at your savings account completely differently. And you are going to take action that your future self will thank you for. The big lie you were told about saving money. From the moment you were old enough to understand money, someone told you the same thing. Save your money, put it in the bank, keep it safe. And that advice sounds responsible. It sounds smart. It sounds like exactly what a financially responsible adult should do. But here is what nobody told you. Saving your money in a traditional bank savings account is not just failing to grow your wealth. In many cases, it is actually making you poorer every single year. And the bank knows this. They have always known this. They just never had any reason to tell you. How banks actually make money from you most? People think banks are just safe places to store money. You put your money in, it sits there safely, and you take it out when you need it. Simple, right? Wrong. Here's the truth. When you deposit money into your bank account, the bank does not just hold it for you. They take your money and immediately lend it out to other people. They give it to people taking out mortgages, car loans, personal loans, and business loans. And those people pay the bank back with interest. High interest. The average personal loan interest rate is between 10% and 28% per year. The average mortgage rate is around 7%. Credit card interest rates are often between 20% and 30% per year. So your bank is taking your money and lending it out at 10%, 15%, 20% or more in annual interest. And what do they give you in return for using your money to make all of this profit? The national average savings account interest rate is around 0.5% per year. Some big traditional banks pay even less than that. Some pay as little as 0.01%. Let that sink in for a moment. Your bank borrows your money, lends it out at up to 30% interest, and pays you back 0.01% to 0.5% for the privilege of using it. This is not an accident. This is not an oversight. This is a deliberate business model that has been making banks extraordinarily wealthy for decades while keeping their customers exactly where they want them, uninformed and underpaid. The real cost of a traditional savings account. Now let me show you the actual numbers because this is where it gets truly shocking. Let's say you have $10,000 sitting in a traditional savings account at a big bank, paying 0.5% interest per year. After 1 year, you earn $50 in interest. $50. That is what the bank gives you for letting them use $10,000 of your money for an entire year. But here's the part that makes it even worse. Inflation. Inflation is the rate at which prices rise every year. Historically, inflation runs at around 2% to 3% per year. What this means is that every year your money sits in that savings account earning 0.5%. The purchasing power of that money is actually shrinking. If inflation is running at 3% and your savings account is paying 0.5%, you are effectively losing 2.5% of your purchasing power every single year. Your account balance might say $10,000, but in real terms, that money buys less and less every year it sits there. Over 10 years, this is devastating. $10,000 sitting in a 0.5% savings account for 10 years grows to about $10,511. But with 3% inflation, that same $10,000 needed to grow to about $13,439 just to maintain the same purchasing power. You are not just failing to grow your wealth. You are actively losing it in real terms while the bank profits enormously from your money. This is the silent wealth killer that nobody talks about. And it is happening to millions of people right now. The high-yield savings account secret now, here is where things start to get better because there is a simple first step that anyone can take today that will immediately improve your situation. It is called a high-yield savings account. A high-yield savings account works exactly like a regular savings account. your money is still safe. It is still insured by the government up to $250,000. You can still access it whenever you need it. The only difference is the interest rate. Instead of earning 0.01% to 0.5% like you get at a big traditional bank, high-yield savings accounts at online banks typically pay between 4% and 5% per year, or sometimes even higher. Let me show you what that difference looks like in real numbers. That same $10,000 sitting in a traditional savings account at 0.5% for 10 years gives you $10,511. That same $10,000 in a high-yield savings account at 4.5% for 10 years gives you $15,530. That is over $5,000 more just for switching accounts. Same money, same safety, dramatically different result. And the reason online banks can pay so much more is simple. They do not have expensive physical branches on every corner. They do not have thousands of tellers and branch managers to pay. Their costs are dramatically lower, so they can afford to share more of the profits with you. High-yield savings accounts are available at banks like Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally Bank, Marcus, SoFi, and many others. Most of them have no minimum balance requirements and no monthly fees. There is absolutely no reason to keep your emergency fund or short-term savings in a traditional bank account when these options exist. But here is the important thing to understand. A high-yield savings account is not an investment. It is still just a savings account. It is a much better place to park your short-term money and your emergency fund. But if you truly want to build wealth, you need to go further, where your money actually needs to go. This is the part the bank definitely does not want you to know, because this is where you completely escape their system. While your bank is lending your money out at 10% to 30% and paying you 0.5%, the stock market has historically returned an average of around 10% per year over long periods of time. The S&P 500, which is simply an index of the 500 largest companies in America, has delivered this kind of return decade after decade, despite recessions, crashes, pandemics, and every other crisis you can imagine. Let me show you what that means for your money with real numbers. $10,000 invested in an S&P 500 index fund for 30 years at a 10% average annual return grows to over $174,000. That same $10,000 sitting in a traditional savings account at 0.5% for 30 years grows to just $11,614. The difference is over $162,000. From the exact same starting amount. The only difference is where the money was placed. This is why building wealth is not about earning more money. It is about making smarter decisions with the money you already have. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. The stock market is risky. I could lose everything. And yes, the stock market does go up and down in the short term. But here is what the data actually shows. Over every single 20-year period in the history of the S&P 500, the market has always been positive. Every single one. The longer you stay invested, the more the risk disappears, and the more the power of compound growth takes over. The 3-account system you need right now. So what should you actually do with your money? Here is the simple 3-account system that will transform your financial life. The first account is your checking account. This is where your paycheck lands and where you pay your bills from. Keep only what you need for monthly expenses here. Do not let extra money sit here earning nothing. The second account is your high-yield savings account. This is where your emergency fund lives. You want 3 to 6 months of living expenses here. This money needs to be safe and accessible, but it should be earning 4% or more, not 0.01%. Move your emergency fund here immediately if it is not already there. The third account is your investment account. This is where real wealth gets built. A Roth IRA or a regular brokerage account invested in low-cost S&P 500 index funds. Every dollar you can put here beyond your emergency fund should go here. This is your wealth-building engine, and the earlier you start feeding it, the more powerful it becomes. The goal is simple. Your checking account handles your life. Your high-yield savings account protects your emergency fund. Your investment account builds your future. Every dollar has a job, and no dollar sits idle, earning 0.01% for a bank that is already making plenty of money from you. What to do starting today? Here are your exact action steps starting right now. First, log into your bank account and check what interest rate you are currently earning on your savings. If it is below 4%, you are leaving money on the table every single day. Second, open a high-yield savings account at an online bank. Marcus, Ally, and SoFi are all excellent options with no fees and no minimums. Transfer your emergency fund there this week. Third, if you do not already have a Roth IRA or brokerage investment account, open one today. Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard are the best options for beginners. Fourth, choose a low-cost S&P 500 index fund inside your investment account and set up an automatic monthly contribution. Even $100 or $200 a month makes an enormous difference over time. Fifth, never let extra money sit in a traditional savings account again. Every dollar beyond your emergency fund should be working hard for you in the market, not sitting idle, making your bank rich. Final thoughts. The bank did not tell you any of this on purpose. Their entire business model depends on you keeping your money in low-interest accounts while they lend it out at enormous profit. They sponsor financial literacy programs that conveniently never mention high-yield savings accounts or index fund investing. They make their checking accounts easy to open and their investment options confusing and expensive on purpose. But now you know. And knowledge without action is worthless, so take these steps today. Move your emergency fund to a high-yield savings account. Open an investment account and start putting money into index funds consistently. And stop letting the bank use your money to build their wealth while yours sits still. Your money should be working as hard as you do. Starting today,